good afternoon, good evening, everybody. We have a tight schedule, so we'll keep it to it. We'll take the first, like we started last week, with the first few minutes. I want to introduce Gary. I want to welcome Gary to the party. I guess Gary and I've known each other for a while now. Actually, backstory about Gary. I think Gary and I first connected actually like 7 or 8 years, 5, 7, 8 years ago, back in 2017, 18, when he was into it. I think there was a lady by the name of Cynthia who used to work for us in the San Mateo office, and she had hustled Gary for right on some audience deal out of Intuit or some shit like that. I don't know what it was. We tried to get more out of Intuit. Obviously, we failed. We couldn't get more, but it's all right. If at first you don't succeed, keep trying. That's kind of the story. So, and that's it. I'm gonna let Gary introduce himself, and we'll go through this 15-minute exercise.
Okay, thank you, Vivek. If at any point you see me looking down, it's because there's some questions I want to stay to the timeline. And the reason I'm taking the call from my bedroom is I have a bunch of people still asleep. So I fully expect for Vivek to make me bust out in laughter at some point, and that would create probably a bunch of grumpy people in the household. So anyway, okay, introducing myself. My name is Gary Pansino. I am a QuestionPro customer, a very happy one at that. And I run a two-person research consultancy with my sister, who is 8 years younger. So we are a family business. And as such, I really am living my professional dream because I get to do something that I love, which is research, with somebody that I really love, which is my sister. So I also get to work at home with flexibility. I usually only have about 2 hours of meetings per day, so I can kind of schedule my time, which allows me to be present for my other person that I really love, not the only one, but which is my daughter. I'm present for her. She can interrupt me while I'm programming a QuestionPro survey and show me something really cool that she's working on. And I can say, that is great because of I blank, and give her the details so she knows that I really paid attention. So anyway, so QuestionPro is probably the most important platform for making that lifestyle possible. So as such, I'm here to open by just saying thank you for the work that you do and your wonderful product, but specifically your wonderful, warm, competent service and humanity behind the product. The most important thing about software as a service is service. And I, as a small business in the United States, am constantly disappointed by that. So I feel a lot of brand love and personal love to you all because you are the exception, not the rule. So thank you. Keep it up. Don't ever lose that. Okay. I've said my piece. So for a bit of fun, I think some of you might be thinking Vivek is going to interview me about small business life and QuestionPro and things like that. But he and I were a little sneaky and we decided to flip it. And I am going to ask him a series of questions so that we can get to know our leader better. So are you ready, Vivek?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's flip the tables. Let's flip the tables. I wasn't expecting this, but let's do it.
Yeah. Okay, great. So my first question, I read an article earlier in the year that says entrepreneurs are obsessed with the word why. And I resonated with that deeply. And I had a feeling that you are also obsessed with that word. So the question is, what are both your personal and professional whys? And yes, so what are your personal and professional whys?
Well, I'll give you the no bullshit answer that I've had before. Why did I start QuestionPro way back when? And the simple answer is I kind of hated my boss. That's kind of the very simple answer. I hated my boss. And if you kind of peel the onion a little bit, is like I want everybody to come to work and live kind of an amazing life. As in, you talked about it a little bit earlier on. I want everybody, and so I was not getting fulfilled. And if you're not getting fulfilled, just do something else that fulfills you, really. So that's kind of at least my viewpoint. And that's the big reason why I do what I do. I wake up every morning. I'm super happy about what I'm doing. I have new challenges. It's not that challenges are easy or hard. They're definitely different challenges. And winning. And I love to win. And I love to pick fights also, frankly. And so the why, my pissing contest with Qualtrics is there, and pretty much everyone in the company knows about it. I've talked about it ad nauseum. And so that's the why, I would say. Like, from my perspective, my personal why is I want to feel challenged. I want to wake up. I want to do things that are my way, do things the new way, come up with new ideas that I can implement. I don't have some shithead telling me what the fuck I should do and what I shouldn't do. And so that's pretty empowering for me, at least personally. It is very, very empowering. I wake up and I say, hey, let's kind of do something. Let's start up a CX advisory board. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do it. And we can execute. So those things are very, very inspiring. And at least from my personal perspective, professionally, I think we've built an amazing kind of tool. We've built an amazing platform. We have the world is our kind of oyster, realistically, and we can go wherever we want to go. We know, if we feel that this is the right thing to do, we can do it. We're not emboldened, we're not beholden to a bunch of things. Yes, we have economic metrics that tell us where to go and what not to do, kind of justify kind of our behavior. But at least that's kind of in a nutshell, that's the why I have.
Very nice. Beautiful stuff. From what I know about you and what I've seen, all of those apply. Can I add one more? And you tell me if I'm right?
Yeah.
Adventure. You are an adventurer.
Okay, true, actually. Yeah, good point. Trying out new ideas, adventure. Yeah. I definitely try new things. After a long time, I went mountain biking, and I fucking said I'm gonna go as fast as I can. Didn't break a rib, but it's all right. Good stuff. Yeah.
Good stuff. Good. Okay, second question. We have a total of 5. Hopefully we'll get through them all. If not, no worries. Okay, the second question, and I'm reading, so just give me a minute. A small business owner we interviewed recently said something touching and surprising. He said, technically, I'm everyone's boss, but honestly, I feel like I work for my employees more than they work for me. He then went on to describe not being able to take time off without fighting fires and dealing with logistics and issues. He's the first one to clock in and the last one to clock out, and he has to bear the financial stress for everybody and the business pressures and things like that, and so on. So my question to you, Vivek, is do you ever feel that way too? And if so, what are the ways do you feel like you work for your employees?
I wouldn't say I work for my employees. I'm pretty sure these guys would disagree, but I feel that I want to empower them. Really, that's how I wake up and say, like, hey, how can I make this thing work? We're all a very hands-on kind of ecosystem over here. There's no like, okay, this is beyond me. There's nothing, look, as a founder, this and I know this. There's nothing beyond me, really. Like, if somebody needs to do something, if I need to do something, I'll do it. So there's nothing beyond kind of like that kind of farcical information. I don't believe in it. I believe in kind of rolling up your sleeves, doing every single function. Every single function in this company is actually important. To say that one function is somehow at a hierarchy than the other function, first of all, logically it doesn't make any sense. Second of all, it's kind of an artificial kind of conversation. So the financial burden obviously is there. I'm very cognizant of it. Touch wood, we've been doing business for a long time, and I've never missed payroll in my entire career. That's the one thing I do take extremely seriously, at least on a very personal level. That everybody who works with me have obligations, and I need to make sure that they get paid on time and every time. Simple. That's it. That's kind of my simple financial obligation to everybody in this company is that when you work at QuestionPro, you'll get paid on time every time, no questions asked. That's my job. Your job is to help us kind of move the ball further, really, right? So the financial obligation, and that's why we have to make decisions up front. Everybody relies on us as the management and leadership to make the prudent decisions so that we continue doing that. So I think the financial obligations used to, right now we've kind of, because we've been a little bit more conservative, I would argue that we've not leaned in on certain financial aspects. We are, we have a buffer, we have everything, and it has its own kind of downsides. I mean, every decision, as you know, Gary, is like his positive and negatives, really, right? So
Mhm.
so the downsides are like we are not leaning into certain things that our competitors are doing, that they have more money, they can do this, we don't get Michelle Obama in our conference. She cost 450 grand. I don't want to spend 450 grand on Michelle Obama. That's it. I mean, it's good to have Michelle in our conference, yes, but it's also a reasonable amount of money, which effectively comes out of our own pockets over here. And that, yeah, will the ROI pay off? Maybe, we don't know. And so that's the point I'm trying to make, is that we've kind of like made some decisions. So I actually sleep reasonably well at night. Way back when it was a little bit more stressful, but today it's kind of like we have a reasonably good machine, a system in play, more importantly, a financial model that we put in place. So that works out pretty well.
Yeah, very, very nice. Yeah. And please correct me if I'm misremembering, but because we're talking about financial stuff, you said something when we had dinner, a month or so ago that I will always remember. And if I'm misquoting you, please correct me. But you said something like, to make something like at the scale of QuestionPro possible, you have to be willing to put all your financial chips into the pile, all in at moments if needed. Did I remember that correctly?
Yeah, I mean, either we have taken big risks when we have done a couple of acquisitions. We've taken, we took a lot of our own money, hard-earned money, and gave it to somebody else to do the acquisitions. Those are risks. I mean, these are risk-taking capacity, really, right? So there's got to be some level of risk that we have to take in order to gain some kind of movement, really, right? So I wouldn't say I've gone all in. I would probably say like I've not gone full all in, full tilt, like we've gone kind of 80% in a couple of times. That we still
That's
keep
pretty
our 20%
close.
buffer. Yeah, we keep a 20% buffer and say like, if shit hits the fan, then we have the 20%
Yeah.
to kind of cover everybody else.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Okay, next question is actually very short. As a human being, Vivek, sample size of one, what are your top hopes and fears for our global world? You are a very global company, which is one of the things that I also like. What are your top hopes and fears for our global world? And how do those hopes and fears translate to your vision for QuestionPro culture?
One of my kind of strengths and fears also at the same time is that like we're all interconnected from across the planet. I know we have folks in, like I said, we have folks in Latin America and India and Dubai and South Africa, UK, so we are, I'm blessed in a roundabout way. We are in a digital world where all of us can interconnect and work together. So we've leaned into it. So that's kind of my hope, is that continues on and that doesn't get disrupted. Obviously, in the physical world, there are lots of issues going on, as you know, and we all know that that there's interconnectivity. But as I'm kind of like blessed, I would argue, that we operate in the kind of ultimately in the digital world. We are kind of like 100% digital company, and we operate in the digital world. We operate really beyond the physical layer. So I think that's kind of my hope, and my fear also is like at some point, if you say like, well, if a country blocks the internet, really, I mean, it happened in Bangladesh actually, right? So those are uh, that's a shit show moment, really, right? Like if some country says like, fuck it, we're not, no more internet for us, or it's just kind of cordoned off, then that would be a, frankly, an existential issue for us, because we are so interconnected between countries. So we've kind of crossed the borders, and we've just said like, hey, borders are for borders, and a different artifact. We've kind of gone beyond that. So that's my answer, at least.
Wow, that is shocking. Just the idea of that could be your morning. You might wake
Yeah.
up, oh, I had a meeting with so and so, and you might, oh, internet's off.
Yep.
Oh my God.
And it's game
Wow.
over.
Okay. How are we doing? Oh boy, let's go. Let's do
Yeah.
one more.
One more,
Um,
yeah, and then
yes. A business to business software company once said to us in an interview that he actually prefers to deal with smaller, less established companies because they are still small enough to care about their customers. This has been totally my experience throughout my entire career. and also my personal life, the products and services that I buy, and even some of the people that I interact with personally, that the bigger they get, the customer service and support and just kind of the warmth invariably just drops and never stops dropping. So what is QuestionPro's strategy for continuing this small company personalized service model at large scale that includes the human factor? It was really the faces and the conversations with people, not necessarily the support technology, which is also fantastic. But so what is your strategy for maintaining the support, the personalized human support that I love so much?
Yeah, so I think obviously we realize that that's one of our strengths. Simply, first of all, recognizing that that's the strength at a leadership level, at an organizational level, we need to realize that that the human element is our strength, and we that's the reason we get paid. That's the reason we can pay ourselves and pay our employees. So in my mind, that that recognition itself is very key. Not at the elemental level, but at the leadership as well as the structural level, and nurturing that. So that's number one. Hopefully we never lose that, but never say never. We could lose it, and then we'll pay the price for it, simply put, like everybody else. So one strategy is, like, first of all, recognizing it. Number two, nurturing it and kind of encouraging it, really. Like, we have a lot of, throughout the org, we put some rules in play, and we just find balance. We are trying to kind of try, some rules, but they, line managers have, capacity to do things that not everything is like fully cookie cutter, really, right? So when you start doing that fully cookie cutter approach, that's when you lose the personal touch, because exceptions have to be made. So it's a question of how many exceptions, how we strategize for those exceptions conditions, really, right? So I think our strategy is, like, come up with some parameters, but to make sure the parameters are not onerous on the account management and the line level, and give a lot of autonomy and freedom for people. All our sales leaders have a lot of autonomy and freedom around how they structure deals, what they do, what they don't do. That we're starting to put some benchmarks together as we grow for scalability. But for operational efficiency, we also at the same time realize, for operational kind of connect, we have to give some flexibility. So that's how we're gonna do it.
Yeah. To close, in that last question, as a customer, it instantly warmed my heart for you as the leader to instantly validate that is your strength: service and support, human attention, and to give me several specific examples of the ways that you're prioritizing and operationalizing it in the organization. So I will leave this call now as a very, very happy customer.
Thank you, Gary. Appreciate it.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
Now
Cheers.
get to work.